2024 is going to bring a new wizard to the world of Rathe. What's up everyone, welcome back, this is Strike47, I am Arc, and Happy New Year to everyone. New Year, new wizard is going to be the title of this video because I'm pretty sure that 2024 will make space for new wizards coming to Rathe. Why do I say that? Well, before getting to that, we have to take a good look at what happened in 2023 for wizards. As we all know, last year it has been the wizard year. There has been 3 wizards, yes 3, going to Living Legend in different formats. And it all began when Iyslander, the beautiful Ice Queen, was pushed to Living Legend in Blitz, removing the frosty times from the Blitz meta and making more space for new decks to come around. A bit later, after the World Championship, Living Legend status was reached for Iyslander, also in Classic Constructed, completely removing her from the metagame, which means the most successful wizard so far is out of the picture. But what about Kano? Unfortunately, my beloved Kano is there because right now it was pushed in Living Legend in Blitz as well, much to my sorrow, which means that now, from now on, I will have to play Brute. Well, will have to play sounds bad. I actually enjoy playing Brute. But anyways, there is no more Kano in Blitz, and that pains me a lot. The only wizard that you can play right now in Flesh and Blood in Classic Constructed is Kano, and we all know that it's kind of sketchy and tricky. And there is another wizard, and that's the Emperor, which is a double class warrior wizard hero. But it's kind of a weird one, right? Whenever you see the Emperor in front of you in a competitive Blitz environment, you don't really feel like that's a threat. That's kind of, okay, funky, cool, but it's not the same as seeing Kano. And for this reason, I think that in 2024, we'll see a new wizard coming up. Now, before getting into the details of what wizard we might see and how does it make more sense for this wizard to come to us, I would first need to motivate why I think that there is the need at all for wizard in the meta. And so I do think that there are a few reasons why I expect that hero to be present in Flesh and Blood. Even though many people don't particularly like wizard, I think it's essential for the well-being of the meta. I know this is a very, very discussed question, and some people would just not like to see arcane damage, but it's part of the world of Rathe. It's a fantasy world. You will have illusionists, as you will have warriors, as you will have rune blades, like mixed class kind of stuff, and wizard that play with arcane damage. That's kind of the lore, that's the fantasy world we are in, so I won't get into detail of whether that's good or not. The fact is that having arcane damage changes a lot and adds a lot of depth to Flesh and Blood gameplay, because it suddenly mathematically suddenly changes the way you evaluate cards in your deck, because cards that pitch 3 become cards that defend 3, and cards that attack that pitch 1 red, that become defense 1. And so that kind of ambivalency, I think that the word exists, please correct me if it's not the case, it kind of creates this situation where you, according who you're playing against, you have to evaluate cards differently, which means deck building will become more challenging. Of course, right now, Kano, it's not, you just need to have a bit of care when going to play Classic Constructed professional tournaments or competitive tournaments. But in general, you're not really worried by Kanos, because there won't be mana in the tournament, and it's safe just by statistics to ignore the fact that you will meet some Kano, just back in some Arcane Barrier, and maybe just hope that you won't even see one. And that's completely okay, because there are very, very few wizard players. And especially in the last period, after with all the new mechanics coming around, new mechanologies, new disruption, new even the illusionist class, it's proving very challenging for Kano to have success in classic constructed. And that means that you also have a bunch of people that love playing wizard, that really enjoy playing Icelander, that really want to play Kano, but they feel like if they do so, they lose the competitive edge. And so if you put together all the different reasons, how it affects the meta, how it changes the way people have to care about deck building, and how many people do want to play the class, I think that we cannot have a whole year go by without a new wizard being introduced to Flesh and Blood. Now, let's see. In 1 year from now, we'll make a follow-up video and see if I was right in this speculation, in this projection onto the future of the game. But before closing the video, I would like to take a look on what kind of wizard we could expect, what does make sense, and how we would be able to imagine a new wizard in Flesh and Blood. To do that, I want to look at some data. Of course, the day I have to record this video, there is a bug on the website. Don't take this as the usual state. February is an amazing service. They are the best way to build a deck, manage your collection, find stats about the game. They are doing an amazing job, but apparently with the new set coming up, there has been a mistake into introducing the warrior cards, and now suddenly it looks like the warrior has a disproportionately amount of cards. This is basically the card distribution, the cards available to each hero excluding generic. So you can see that you have the different classes here on the X axis, and here the count of cards on the Y axis, and it's kind of an histogram. And here, well, the warrior seems to be disproportionately represented. It's a mistake that will be corrected. I'm pretty sure it will be corrected super soon, but you can still kind of see the pattern that we're interested in, even with less details. Let's just assume that the warrior, it's just being covered by me, and it's kind of there. And I'm sorry for how this video editing will look like, but that's the best I can do. So if you look at down here, I'm gonna use this card distribution tab, of which LSS I'm pretty sure is pretty aware of, to motivate what kind of wizard I expect. So there is one thing that the first thing that comes to my mind, which I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but for example, I do believe that a new elemental Kano, a new version of the beloved Kano hero, would be something that we could actually see with some new powers. Let's say a better adjusted power balance in that hero, and then it would be maybe a fire or lightning, even though lightning it's kind of sketchy because it would completely change how it works. So I'm gonna just say new element fire and new wizard, new Kano version, like Kano when he's on steroids. I don't know, but that's the idea. And you can see that definitely wizard. I wanted to take Runeblade as the top class because they have the most cards available, and then just followed by Mechanology after the last set. And I would think that what LSS will try to do is to make sure that over time, more or less, every class will have kind of the same number of cards available, and Warrior seems to be coming up here pretty soon. Ranger is already in the range of Runeblade. Definitely Guardian and Brute will get a bunch of cards with the new set coming up in a month. That would mean that I expect Brute and Guardian to be more or less at this critical level of the Runeblade. And then this could mean that with a few new cards for our Elementary Wizard, we could actually see fill this gap here. Now, the other option I see, if it's not a elemental wizard, if it's not a pure wizard, I can see another mixed class hero coming up. And then I was thinking, what are the class that makes more sense? Not only because of the lore, but also because of how the game works. Because you know, we have already an example of how to mix wizard, and that is Wizard Warrior. And Wizard Warrior is something that I can see happening again here. And that makes sense because the Emperor is already an example of that class, and also because warrior don't want to use attack action cards as wizard do. So that's something, somehow what puts them together, what makes it easier to build a mixed class with these, a hero with mixed class with these two classes. And if it's not gonna be a warrior, then I was thinking, what's the more class that has less available cards, that's also somehow doesn't care so much about attack action? And there isn't one. The only classes that have weapons, they also care about attacks, unless we could see an illusionist wizard, which I don't think it's feasible because of how, like, you cannot make, well, you could make a board and then play arcane spells, but I think that would be just broken. Like, that would be, maybe it's gonna happen, but I think that would be overpowered. So I don't think that we would kind of see that as an option. And then if you see ninja and assassin, which are the one that use a lot of attacks, but also they have interesting weapons that they can use, that's something that seems unlikely, but it could somehow make sense. Even if it doesn't right now in my mind, it could somehow make sense. And then what I could see, it's, for example, a guardian wizard, which is weird, I know, but considering you could have something that would look a bit more like a cleric. And that's where I wanted to get. Like, the idea is that instead of seeing wizard, we'll see new classes that play with arcane magic. And I have 3 selected, that would make sense. And then maybe they would introduce one of these new classes, and introducing those classes, they would maybe mix a wizard to one of the new classes. That would be a lot of innovation very quickly, but that's something that it's definitely a possibility, something that I can really see happening. Now, what are those classes? What are the new classes that could be introduced in Flesh and Blood? And I have individuated 3, and it's not just coming from here. There is reasons, and stay there, because finally I get to show you this. This is the book, the lore book of Flesh and Blood, and it's an amazing piece, very difficult to find, that I'm very happy. James, again, if you're looking at the video, thank you so much for this. It's amazing. It was given to me from James White, and I really love this, and to have access to this knowledge, because you see, this is the original thing that came out when they presented the game, and there is a lot of information that could be found here. And here we get very quickly to the point where I wanted to be. Here are the regions of the game, so we all know that. Well, maybe we do not all know, but people that are interested in the lore know that there are 8 different regions in Rathe, each that has their mostly iconic class coming from. For example, Solana is the home of warriors, Aria of guardians, Mystery of ninjas, Savage lands of brutes, Matrix of mechanologists, the Monastery of Roomblade, Volker of wizards, and pits are, well, rangers and all those other kind of scoundrels kind of people. And now, if you look at this other page, this is where things get interesting, but because you can see that there are classes that we definitely are familiar with in this. And for example, Brute and Guardian, this is very hard. But here, look at this. What is this? This is Alchemist here. And then you have here the Cleric class already mentioned, and here the most cool thing I would love to see in Flesh and Blood is Necromancer. The main thing here is that these 3 classes have been mentioned by the lore book, have been mentioned as existing in the world of Flesh and Blood, and that would all work well with arcane magic. I can see, for example, a cleric being kind of a mix between a guardian and a wizard, not double class, but something like that goes towards that tanky class that can use magic to heal, some like and to at the same time it could be also more like towards illusionist and then towards wizard. I'm not sure, but I'm just thinking about things. And then mixing cleric wizard would make sense. Now cleric that can shoot spells, and then alchemist, it's something that would probably be more like a funky class, like a merchant that would play with potion and objects. But as all these things are non-attack action, then I would expect that to be able to work with a mixed wizard class, especially because lore-wise, alchemist wizard would make sense together. And then my favorite, the last one, for those of you that have stayed so far into the video, is the Necromancer. Necromancer would definitely have, at the beginning, if it's only Necromancer, would be something more like towards shadow and like illusionist, like for the gameplay, where you kind of or like Kasai that can call mercenaries, or like illusionists that can create angels. The idea is that a necromancer would be something that try to build board, evoking things and bringing them back. That it's a very complex class to realize. But then again, if you're working with allies and you can kind of evoke zombies, some kind of stuff like that, then you're probably gonna be working with non-attack actions, and that means that you can mix that class with a wizard class. And so that's something that would be amazing and very cool. James, if you're listening to this, LSS, I'm here, listen to me, bring the Necromancer. Let 2024 be the year of the Necromancer. And yeah, these are a bit my reasoning, these are a bit my ideas. And yeah, just let me know what you think about this. If you can see any of this idea makes sense. If you do expect as well to see a new wizard, if you look forward to see a new wizard this year. And regarding my speculation, so elemental, new Kano, cleric, alchemist, necromancer, wizard class, I'll put a wager on this. And if I am wrong, next year I will be making the follow-up video in 1 year from now, so 1st of January of 2025, and make a giveaway to if I lost the wager, I have to give something else, so that would be the idea. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I wish you a great new year. I hope that this new year will bring you a lot of cards and beautiful things and wizards, spells, arcane stuff. And well, it has been really a journey so far. I'm really happy to be here today with you after 3 years of being on YouTube, and I hope you enjoyed the time so far. And there is a lot more coming. I really look forward to that. And wow, may the heater be with you.